Happy Hobby. I'm David Gonos, and today we have another very special podcast video episode. It's Hockey Talk, and we've got our hockey puck guy here, Patrick Imhoff. How you doing, Patrick?
Oh, I'm great. It's hockey season, and who can be more happy about that?
We're deep into hockey season, and you wrote for us actually an article, How to Collect Hockey Cards, and that's what we're going to talk about today because, there's not a lot of people that collect all four of the major sports. And I would say, even in Canada, there's not a lot of people that collect all four hockey or all four major sports. But there are opportunities, and it's a good thing to diversify your collection. Like I like to say, if you want to get some really good cards of other sports, like that's cool. That really makes your collection uh, interesting. I think it's a little more interesting than just one sport that you're focused on or whatever it is. But hockey, plenty of opportunities there. Unfortunately, if a lot of people are worried because they don't know a lot about the players in the sport or necessarily about the sport in general. But we're going to kind of give them a little primer as far as how to collect hockey cards and who you want to collect. And this article again at davidgonis.com, how to collect hockey cards, it's fantastic. And this is a great starting spot.
Yeah, hockey is. I would venture to say amongst the four sports for collecting is probably number four because the least amount of people in America here watch hockey. But like you said, I only collect two sports, baseball and hockey, because one is too expensive to collect four sports, and it gives you a little variability. So I like it.
Yeah, what's interesting too is it's the first sport that was more international. Like right now, NBA gets a lot of run because it's an international game and there's guys that hockey was doing that 30, 40 years ago. It
Yeah,
was
you go
great.
back, go back to the Detroit Red Wings, 1990s. They brought all the Russian players over, and the doors opened up. And it's not just
There you
Canada,
go.
or it's all Europe. It's everywhere. It's international.
Yeah, exactly. Was it the Russian Five they call that?
Yeah,
Right? Something like that. There's a great documentary about that. That was really good. So if I'm wanting to get into collecting hockey cards, who makes hockey cards?
yeah. So going to the beginning in the 80s and 90s, it was Tops and it was O-Pee-Chee, and O-Pee-Chee is still around today, but nowadays it's Upper Deck. Upper Deck, who made baseball cards we saw in the 90s, and they tried to get into everything. They branched specifically to hockey. And then they bought the O-Pee-Chee brand, if you will. So there's Upper Deck O-Pee-Chee, but Upper Deck
Gotcha.
controls it much like Tops controls baseball, if you will. And Upper
Yeah,
Deck has their series. Like we have Tops Series 1, Series 2, and Extended. There's Upper Deck Series 1, Upper Deck Series 2, and Upper Deck Extended. So it's the
gotcha.
flagship product is Upper Deck.
Okay, yeah, and sort of like they bought OPC, sort of like how Topps bought the Bowman brand that was 70 years ago, or how Panini owns Don Russ and some of the other products that they picked up through the years. Panini has those brands. Upper Deck, OPC, same company makes them.
Yeah, same. And one interesting thing about it is if you go to your local hobby shop, not all local hobby shops are upper deck retailers, meaning they cannot sell you, which is why sometimes you go into a shop and you only see baseball, hockey, football, and or baseball,
Interesting.
basketball, football, and you're like, where's the hockey cards? And they're like, oh, we're not an upper deck retailer, so they can't sell them. Um,
Wow, that's
so you,
interesting.
depending on what part of the country you live in, it becomes harder to find a hobby product without going online.
Very cool. Didn't know that. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so now on davidgons.com, you helped me with an article. So I have the best rookie cards ever from every of the four major sports. And for hockey, I could get the early stuff and some of the late stuff, but man, you really did help flesh out that whole from like mid 90s on was all
Yeah, and
basically you.
I know I missed some, so if anybody's upset, they can blame me. Don't blame Dave.
Yeah,
Uh, it's
that's
just,
all right.
there's so many guys out there that depends on what your level of top rookie is.
Gotcha. All right. So on that list with the best rookie cards, you could go back and you can look at who in the 80s were the top guys to get, obviously the Wayne Gretzky's, the Mario Lemieux and such, but there are some good players from the 80s that you can get relatively cheap. Now, Tops and O-Pee-Chee, you mentioned those two different brands, but sometimes they both make the same card, right?
Yeah, when you were looking at hockey cards in the 1980s, and I can't remember when O-Pee-Chee stopped, but in the early 90s, they're identical cards. It was the same picture, the same background. It was just O-Pee-Chee was sold to the Canadian market and Topps was sold to the American market. That was the only difference. The O-Pee-Chee cards said O-Pee-Chee in the logo, and the Topps cards said Topps. And I think on the O-Pee-Chee cards, some of the writing was in French, French Canadian. I'm not perfect on that, and they were just a little bit brighter in terms of the ink they used or
Oh,
however they did it. So to
oh,
me,
interesting.
as a kid, if I found an O-Pee-Chee card, that was like the coolest thing ever because you're like,
Oh, that's neat.
this has got to be worth more than the Tops. And today, the value of an O-Pee-Chee, if you were to look at an O-Pee-Chee Mario Lemieux rookie compared to the Tops, the O-Pee-Chee will sell for more. I
Oh,
can't
wow.
explain why
Wow.
that is. I don't know why that is, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, maybe it's a rarity type thing. There's only so many printed.
Yeah.
I also remember like Leaf and Donruss had OPG cards. Maybe I want to say both of them, or maybe they were at least they had Canadian counterparts at some point
Yeah,
for
when you
baseball.
looked in the junk wax era, everybody made hockey cards. It was Pro Set, it was Donruss, it was Panini,
Score.
Clear, Score. Yeah, there's tons of rookie cards out there from different brands. Some of them made some pretty nice cards. I kind of wish you could go back to some of that, but we're with Upper
Yeah.
Deck.
Oh, Score is another brand that Panini picked up.
Y-
That's the football version of Donruss they have for basketball. They don't do wait, Donruss they do for basketball? And
Yeah,
anyways,
they're all merged together as to who
yeah,
or
yeah,
where
yeah,
it's confusing.
yeah. All right, so upper decks. Now here's the big takeaway that people need to remember. In the card collecting world, rookie cards rule the world. Rookie cards are the big deal.
Yep.
In hockey, you don't see a RC. You don't see that rookie card logo that you see in basketball and football and baseball. So what are we looking for with the hockey cards?
Yeah, in the flagship Upper Deck products, it's all about Young Guns. So Young Guns
Young
are the rookie
gun.
cards. So whereas if you buy baseball cards and you get, the main flagship of Topps, you'll see a bunch of rookie cards, but then you'll see parallel rookie cards and you'll see gold rookie cards and uh in Upper Deck, it's either a base card from a veteran player or a young gun, and not every player even gets a young gun because they're only going to get about 50 per set. So maybe 150 total for the whole year,
Yeah.
more rookies than that. So that's in the flagship though. If you're looking at Upper Deck Series One, Series Two, and Extended, and
Okay.
of those 50 young guns, there'll probably be maybe three or four that are top notch players. The other 45 or 46 are guys that could be a 27-year-old rookie that's never going to
Oh,
make it, and you're like, oh, who did I get? It's kind of that's the way it is. But if you get into the other lines of Upper Deck, in the article it talks about it. There's Upper Deck artifacts and Upper
mm,
Deck. I'm trying Upper Deck Allure. They'll have rookie cards in there. They're just not nearly as popular as what you see as Young Guns. Young Guns are the collector's choice.
gotcha. So Upper Deck, you mentioned Upper Deck Series One, Series Two, and Extended Series is the flagship series, meaning that's when people refer to um, a rookie card or whatever, it's from that series that they're usually referring to. Just like if you refer to a baseball rookie card, you're talking about Topps flagship, even though there's a billion other Topps products. You're talking about Topps Series One, Series Two, and Topps Trading, right, or Topps Update.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how you can correlate between baseball and hockey to speak
okay.
on the same terms, so you're not confused if you're looking into this for the first time.
Yeah, it's interesting that Panini doesn't do. I mean, it's just they come out with Donruss Optic and they're Prism, and that's it. They don't have a update. It's an interesting thing that they've never picked up on
Yeah,
doing that second series for updates. Anyways, it just dawned on me that they don't do that. So let's do this. Let's talk about the different tiers of types of card to collect, like the cheap. In football, for instance, Panini Score is the cheap card to get for football. Panini Donruss is the cheap card to get for basketball.
yeah.
Tops. I don't know if you'd say big league baseball. I guess big league baseball would be
That
the
yeah, that would have been my big league baseball would have been
okay.
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's like the the lowest, maybe for kids type stuff that you get. Now, for me, I like Donruss basketball. That's expensive enough that it matches flagship baseball. So to me, Donruss basketball and score football, I'm good with those because I don't want to spend $300 on a box.
Yeah, and hockey, that equivalent for the very, very entry level collector is there's basically two products out there. I would say it's Upper Deck MVP, which is the first release of the year, and then Upper Deck
Oh,
OPG. And you got to keep in mind with OPG, there's Upper Deck OPG and there's Upper Deck OPG Platinum.
oh,
Platinum,
okay.
like the Chrome version of Tops. It's their Chrome version,
Ah,
which
right.
is much higher price point. And
Oh,
a,
gotcha.
a typical year, like this year, I just pre-ordered Upper Deck OPG. It was $60 for a hobby box,
Okay.
which it's just a steal. It's a great price.
Hobby
Last
box.
year,
Yeah, wow.
yeah, so you're going to get a bunch of packs, some parallels, some numbered card or two, a possible hit, but that's it. You're not going to get anything big name in there. But last year it was $180 a box, but that was the
Because of
Connor Bedard tax. So this year there's not a top rookie, even though I would argue that Celebrini Macklin might be just as good as Connor Bedard. So I'm paying way less to get the same possible rookie caliber player. But
yeah, the
those are
guy's got two
uh,
last names, Macklin Celebrini. He's got two names. Like
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
he's a
was
tough
always
one.
told. My dad told me don't play cards with a guy with two last names
Yeah, yeah.
or two first
Two
names.
first names, exactly.
Either way.
Yeah,
Um,
those are your entry though. Is Upper Deck MVP and Upper Deck OPG. I prefer the OPG product personally. I like the way the cards look better than Upper Deck MVP.
and so, okay, good. So now the O-Pee-Chee, those are paper product,
It's
and
a
it's
paper
platinum
product.
is
Yep.
like a chromium.
Yeah, when you get into Upper Deck Platinum or OPG Platinum, sorry, that's like a Chrome type card, a Chrome
Gotcha.
type look to it. Those are much more expensive. You're talking a couple $100 for a box
Oh,
sometimes.
okay. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So back to the flagship then. That's like the average. That's what most people would want to get in. So they're going to get into it and they want to buy packs and boxes and they can spend the money for it, then that's maybe something to get because they're looking for the young guns. And so, what's the difference in like how many young guns and is there young? First off, young guns are base cards with base card numbers, but they don't come as common as all the other base cards. So they're really like short printed base cards. Am I right?
They are, except they're printed on a mass scale. So there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these out there in circulation. So if you're looking for individual pickups and you're just a little bit patient, the prices drop because the eBay gets flooded with these young gun cards and uh,
Gotcha.
find a really good rookie for $20 after a couple months.
Oh wow. So maybe then waiting and getting a numbered one, which
Yeah, and
you would get in a hobby box.
that's the difference. The way it used to work was there were just young guns and there were regular players. And the young guns, the only exception with the hobby box was you could get a clear cut young gun, like an acetate card,
Oh
or you
wow.
could get a the French young guns because they used to sell Upper Deck in France, and it was the French product, which was those
Wow.
were two hits. But in the last 2 or 3 years, Upper Deck has now gotten in like Tops is doing, and there's numbered young guns, and there's Outburst young guns, and there's gold young guns. We saw this last year. The gold Outburst one of one Connor Bedard had a
Pretty
million
sweet.
dollar bounty on it that eventually just got canceled and went away. But they sold their cards and they made their
Nobody
money.
pulled it.
So nobody ever pulled it, but
So you're saying they got a chance.
yeah, it's still out there, but David Adams got rid of the bounty program on it. So if you get it, it's still going to be a premium card, but they're not giving you $1 million.
Yeah.
That's the difference if you get the hobby box. The hobby box gives you the chance. I think you're guaranteed always to get 6 young guns, one young gun canvas, which is a canvas type card, and you'll get a premium card or a French card or a clear cut, some kind of hit card, if you will.
Okay.
That hit card doesn't have to be a young gun though, so it can just be some veteran player.
Oh,
So there's no guarantees. Just like in Tops, your relic or your auto doesn't. It could be a random pitcher, and you're like, thanks, Tops.
right.
Thank you very much. So that's
Yeah.
that's what hobby buys you. So if you don't care or you're not willing to take those odds, you just bought one of these, I believe, a retail box of Upper Deck can be
Yes.
had for 30, $40 at times, and you're still going to get your 6 young guns. You just can't get a numbered one or an acetate one or a French
Gotcha.
variation, but you can still get the young
the
guns at
base.
a much cheaper price point. So you might be sitting on Capril Krizov in your box right now. So
I'm hoping I gotta rip that thing over, man. I got so
yeah.
much stuff I've got sitting here. I'm trying to make content and stuff, and I get stuff stacked on, and then another release of something comes out. Too much stuff, you
But
know. Too much.
that's the flagship product for Upper Decks, and they sell it in hobby and they sell it in retail. So the retail is also an entry level product because you're just not going to get a hit, but you can still get your young guns, which is what most people want. That's where the excitement comes.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense. So you mentioned some of the other mid-level hockey cards in here, like Allure, Credentials, SP. So that's an interesting one. I bought that in the past. I've seen blasters at Target. It seems kind of like a little bit like a Donruss Optic or something like that, where there's like four, or there's a smaller number of cards in each pack at least.
Yeah, and that's you have to be really cautious with Upper Deck SP because there's Upper Deck SP retail, and you get this retail blaster, and you're not going to get anything in there but some base.
Oh,
It's I'm trying to equate that
and they
to
are
what
beautiful cards.
they're nice looking cards, but there is no value. There, there's Upper Deck SP Authentic, which is where that's more of a mid tier, couple $100 hobby box, but you
Oh
get some
wow.
really nice cards. And then there's Upper Deck SPX, and there's SPX Game Used. So you have to Upper Deck throws this SP around, and you have to be cautious of what you're actually getting. So Upper Deck SP Authentic is they have what's called the Future Watch Auto, which is
Oh,
the second most collectible type of rookie, I would argue, compared to the Young Guns.
and
They
the
just
young guns get autos too.
I don't
Oh no,
believe
they
there's
don't.
any
Yeah, I was
Young
gonna
Guns.
say. Now you mentioned that, I was like,
Yeah,
have I seen a young gun auto?
I don't want to say there's not because you never know what's out there, but I don't
Yeah,
think you'll find those in hobby. But the Future Watch has an auto variation, and that goes for more than the Young Guns do. So that's why they price a little bit higher because there's autographs in there.
I got you. Cool,
And
cool,
with those boxes, those mid tiers you mentioned, where you're looking at Allure and Artifacts, they're all about the same price point. You're looking at the $100 to $200 range, close to 150. And honestly, it's what you prefer as a collector. And you can go on YouTube and see the video of what the cards look like, how numbered they are, what the set is, and you'll decide which one you like. As a personal
cool. Yeah.
collector, I prefer artifacts. Artifacts, if I'm going to buy one of those, that's what I get because you're probably going to get a jersey card in there. You're probably going to get an autograph. The base set's a little bit smaller, so you get more rookies. And what they do that I like is they have redemption cards that are numbered, Roman numerals on them, or just a team logo. You got the redemption card for the Dallas Stars. You don't know whose rookie that is yet until Upper Deck waits halfway through the hockey season and they look at which rookie debuted and they say, this is the guy we're going to give you a card for.
Oh,
So there's a little bit of mystery in it, like
yeah,
a
that's
lottery.
interesting.
So if you get a
Huh.
Roman numeral number one, it's typically the first round draft pick, the very top guy. But you
Wow.
can get a guy that's like number 10 or 11 and ends up being a better rookie than who went second or third. So you could hit the lottery on those. So
Oh,
that's
that's
what I like
interesting. Yeah.
about it is it's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. But that's my choice of those mid tier products is upward artifacts.
Cool, cool. That's interesting. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's wrap this discussion up. That was pretty awesome. Oh, high-end hockey cards. The Cup.
Yeah.
Have you mentioned? Go
Upper
ahead.
Deck the Cup is it's a tin box. It's all about presentation. I think you get 6 cards in it, and it runs for about a
That's
thousand
10
bucks.
bucks.
Yeah, it's a
This
thousand
one's more
dollars
expensive, I'm
cards.
guessing. You're telling me.
Yeah, I would never even. It's fun to watch people open them, and most people walk away disappointed because it's so expensive for
Yeah,
what
you
you get.
mentioned in the article some good YouTube breaks of those, right?
Yeah, they're great to watch. Just to see people put down $1,000 and get 6 cards
Oh,
back. Ugh, I cringe.
man.
I just can't justify that.
Okay, so before we move on too far, before we get to the end of this video, explain which types of hockey players we should be collecting.
Yeah, so just like in baseball, where you've got the fielders, the pitchers, the catchers, who carries value, hockey is all about offense. The guys that play center, left wing, right wing, that's where you make your money. Defensemen can still be valuable, but it's the defensemen that score goals. So there's always more guys that play D that are more power play scorers. So the Cal McCarrs of the world, they score goals, so they play D, so they carry value. And goalies,
Gotcha.
And goalies can carry value if they can get out of their own way. Uh,
Yeah.
Guys
I
like
feel
Marc
like,
Andre Fleury and some of those guys, they carry value. Andre Vasilevsky in Tampa carries value, but the average number one goalie that's not a superstar, you don't get a lot of value out of those guys.
gotcha. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong. So scorers a little bit like fielders, in baseball, position players in baseball. Uh, the defensemen a little more like pitchers. So you want like the strikeout pitchers, the big time power pitchers in baseball. You want the power play uh, scorers among the defensemen. Victor Hedman for my Lightning for a while. He was one of the, he was
Yeah,
collectible for that reason. Then for the goaltenders, maybe a little bit more like catchers, in that only the elite really do stand out collecting wise.
yeah, I would say that's a great analogy. It's
Okay.
goal scoring is everything in the NHL. That
Yeah.
gets you.
In all the sports, when we think about like in basketball, Rudy Gobert is a shot blocking center and nobody wants his cards. Like, it's just not.
Yeah,
But you get a swing man, the small forward that fills it up, 28 points a game, doesn't do much of anything else. He's going to be collected
yep.
because he scores. So, okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Now, the last thing I want to pitch to us why we want to go get Yarmir Yager rookie cards.
So I think why is because he's still quiet right now. So first off, number two point scorer in NHL history, only behind Wayne Gretzky. And if you follow hockey, Ovechkin might pass him in goals, but he's not going to catch Yager in points. Nobody's going to catch him.
Oh, wow.
Yager's got that many points. He won two Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh. He still plays hockey today in Czechia. He owns the team and he plays out there.
And
And
why is
that's
that
why
important?
that's important because he still plays professionally, and the Hall of Fame will not induct you until I forget how many years you have to be retired. He's not
Mm.
retired, so he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. So there's a day coming where he'll go in the Hall of Fame and people will see him again, and he might come back to Pittsburgh and take a role with our team in some kind of ambassadorship. So I think
Yeah.
he'll become famous again back in the NHL side in America, and the cards will go up. And honestly, right now you can find some of his rookie cards for under $20, and this is,
Wow.
I mean, when you
Because it
put
was
when
during the it was during junk wax era, but even so, like you
yeah,
said, this is the guy whose value is going to go up
I think
because
it
of
go up a little bit. I mean, you're never going to see crazy money out of it because it's a junk
sure,
wax card, and he's not Gretzky and he's not Lemieux, but he's pretty
right?
good. So and the haircut. I mean, come on, how can you not get behind that?
Yeah. You know what? Maybe it's going out there and finding some like PSA DNA autographs, like graded slabbed autograph cards of his that would go up a substantial chunk.
Yeah,
I imagine
he's a
they're
guy.
probably expensive now.
If I was gonna start a collection, I would be like, that's a great rookie to grab because he's part of history, and
Yeah,
it's just not going to cost you an arm and a leg to grab a couple cards out of Yager.
perfect, man. I mean, for us sports card collectors working with limited budgets, that's the stuff we want to hear. So that's
Yeah, that's
perfect.
exactly. You're right. That's what we need. Those kind of cards.
Exactly, exactly. Well, man, thank you so much. This was fantastic. I feel I got a little bit more. I'm ready for some Young Guns. I mentioned before, I wish Topps would do a version of the Young Guns where it's a limited release of the base rookie cards. Um, just give it a little more something special to them, like an
Yeah.
Ellie
Oh,
De La
cool.
Cruz that was a Young Gun. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I would love it. I know we've talked about like the crossover products. If we could do
Yes.
if Tops, I don't know why they don't call us. They should be watching these videos. We can help.
Absolutely. Maybe this is the one. This is the one. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick. You're fantastic. Your articles on davidgonis.com, how to collect hockey cards. Fantastic. Great article, super helpful. That's up there now. The best hockey rookie cards ever. That list is also up there now, which you helped with. The Happy Hobby Sports Cards newsletter, which you are a frequent contributor. You've done full newsletters on there. So I appreciate that. You're a big help to the hobby. I very much appreciate it. And for the collectors out there, for the card collectors, listen, now's the time to get into some hockey. It's an exciting time with Connor Bedard. He's a little slow this year, but he's still a super young kid, and they got to figure out what they're going to do around him. You had mentioned before that something about being in Chicago and
Yeah,
having that major
I
media market.
I do know that you're the proud owner of Connor Bedard PSA slabbed Young Guns, and I think you made a great investment. So
Oh,
one,
good. Oh, well, thanks.
it's Chicago. So when you do look at hockey, there's bigger markets than others. So Chicago, New York, Boston, the original six, they carry
Makes
weight.
sense.
So and you put a rookie in a big market like Chicago, his card he's like 19 or something. So Chicago's going to figure it out, and I think your investment is going to go through the roof.
That's what I
So
like to hear.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I'll support you on that one.
Oh, good, good. All right. Well, keep an eye out for more articles from Patrick on davidgoss.com and at the Happy Hobby Sports Cars newsletter. And we'll be doing more interviews like this on this podcast, video podcast. So, to the collectors out there, keep collecting, and whatever you do, make sure you have a
Happy hobby.
nice